Welcome to Cardboard Content, where we aim to develop our skills and grow the competitive Commander community. Hey guys, it's me, Benedict. Thank you for joining me here on another week for more content. We got some interesting games for you, too, in fact. You guys saw the thumbnail. We got some pirates, some wizards, some assassins. But before we jump into the game, would you like to win a Time Twister? We have an event coming up in 2 weeks on August 3rd at Darkside Games. More on that later. But now, without further delay, here is the game. Starting off, we have Troy with the opening hand of 6, playing Edward Kenway. Then we have Albert with the opening hand of 7, playing Tymna Kraum. My starting hand is 7, and I'm playing Ezio. And Sebastian has an opening hand of 7, playing Inalla. Troy starts us off by playing an arid mesa and fetching for a volcanic island. Albert's turn 1 is a tundra. Kraum-Ezio imprints a gamble and then casts a talisman of dominance. On my turn, I play a bloodstained mire, fetch for an underground sea, then cast a turn 1 mystic remora. Albert responds with a vampiric tutor. Sebastian just plays a wooded foothills and passes turn. On to Troy's turn, he plays the underground sea and also passes the turn. Albert plays mana crypt into a turn 2 smothering tithe. He triggers my mystic remora. I draw a card. On my upkeep, I pay for the mystic remora, trigger smothering tithe. Albert gets a treasure. I play a Urza Saga. On the end of my turn, Sebastian cracks his wooded foothills for a raucous theater. He surveils and puts a persist into the graveyard. His draw step, he triggers Smothering Tithe. Albert nets a treasure. Sebastian shocks in a steam vents and then casts a Dockside Extortionist. Albert responds by cracking 2 treasures and then casting a Orcish Bowmaster. Dockside resolves and Sebastian nets 6 treasures. Then Sebastian casts Steel Enchantment, targeting Smothering Tithe, triggering my Mystic Remora. I draw, then triggers Smothering Tithe. Albert gets a treasure and also triggers Orcish Bowmaster and a ping Sebastian for 1. Albert responds by casting Chain of Vapor, targeting his Smothering Tithe, triggers my Mystic Remora, which triggers his Smothering Tithe, and his Bowmaster again. Bowmaster pings Sebastian again. Chain of Vapor resolves, bouncing Smothering Tithe back to Albert's hand, and Steel Enchantment goes into the graveyard. We move on to Troy's third turn. He plays a Wishclaw Talisman, triggers my Mystic Remora, and then Albert's Bowmaster. Albert rolls for Mana Crypt, then plays Command Tower, casts his commander Tymna, moves into combat and swings with his Orc army and his Bowmaster, triggering Tymna twice. Albert loses 2 and draws 2 cards. Albert casts his Dockside Extortionist and nets 7 treasures. Casts his commander Kraum, and then Smothering Tithe, which triggers my Mystic Remora again, and Albert's Bowmaster. I pay for Mystic Remora again. On my draw step, I trigger Smothering Tithe. Albert gets another treasure. I play Ancient Tomb, pitch a Simian Spirit Guide, and then cast Imperial Recruiter, tutoring up a Cephalid Illusionist. On Sebastian's turn, Smothering Tithe triggers. Albert nets a treasure. Then Sebastian casts Phyrexian Metamorph, choosing Dockside and netting 7 treasures. He casts Wishclaw Talisman, triggers my Mystic Remora, which triggers Orcish Bowmaster, and then Kraum. Sebastian tutors up a card, and then casts Ruthless Technomancer. When Ruthless Technomancer enters, he gets 2 triggers, off the Inalla being a wizard, and then Ruthless Technomancer himself sacrificing another creature. Sebastian establishes a loop with Dockside Extortionist, Inalla, and Ruthless Technomancer for infinite treasures, and then loops in Phyrexian Metamorph to copy the Orcish Bowmaster, and continues the loop by sacrificing Phyrexian Metamorph to Ruthless Technomancer to bring it back into play to target Orcish Bowmaster, and using Orcish Bowmaster's ETB to ping down the board and eventually win the game. Good job, Sebastian. This time in our upper right, Sebastian with an opening hand of 4. Still on Inalla, Troy, opening hand of 7 on Edward Kenway. Starting hand for Albert is 6 on Tymna Rogak. And I'm still on Ezio with an opening hand of 7. Troy pre-games with a Gemstone Cavern, exiling Mnemonic Betrayal. Sebastian plays Scalding Tarn and passes turn. Troy plays Command Tower into Mana Crypt, into a Nuka-Cola vending machine. Troy makes a food token from Nuka-Cola and then passes turn to Albert. Albert plays a Raucous Theater, surveils and puts a Mana Tithe into the graveyard. Then casts his Commander Rogak. On my turn, I play a Badlands, into a Lion's Eye Diamond, into a Mana Crypt, into a Kraum-Ezio-Inalla, exiling a Final Fortune, and then passing the turn. On my end step, Sebastian fetches up a Ruckus Theater, surveils a Orcish Bowmaster. On his turn, he plays Polluted Delta, then casts Mana Vault, and then passes turn to Troy. On Troy's turn, he rolls for his Mana Crypt, plays a Training Center, then casts a turn to Edward Kenway, and then passes turn to Albert. On Albert's turn, he plays Arid Mesa, and then passes turn. On his end step, I cast Orcish Bowmaster, targeting his commander Rogak. I roll for Mana Crypt, I take 3, play Urza's Saga, then my commander Ezio. Sebastian cracks his Polluted Delta for Undercity Sewers, surveils and puts a Blood Crypt into his graveyard. I move into combat and attack Albert and Sebastian. On Sebastian's turn, he plays a Dockside Extortionist and nets him 7 treasures. Then casts Reanimate, targeting Orcish Bowmasters. He loses 2. With Bowmaster's ETB, he targets my Bowmaster. Then he casts Phyrexian Metamorph and chooses Edward Kenway, and then passes turn to Troy. Troy rolls for Mana Crypt. Then Troy casts Transmute Artifact, sacrificing the food token and getting a Academy Manufacturer. Triggers Nuka-Cola Vending Machine, which also triggers Academy Manufacturer. One step, Albert cracks his Arid Mesa and gets a Badland. On Albert's turn, he plays a City of Traders, casts Gamble, and discards a Ad Nauseam. Then casts Dockside Extortionist. Albert nets 17 treasures. Then casts Besiege the Mirror, bargaining up one of the tokens, and then tutoring up and casting Underworld Breach. And then he casts Ad Nauseam. With the only card in his hand, Sebastian responds with a Mindbreak Trap. Albert unfortunately passes turn to me. I roll for Mana Crypt, then play a Mana Confluence, then cast Intuition. I tutor up a Savine's Reclamation, Nomad Encore, and Cephalid Illusionist. Albert puts Savine's into my hand. I crack a Lion's Eye Diamond for 3 white, and then cast Savine's from my graveyard, targeting Cephalid Illusionist, then targeting Nomad's Encore. With the second target on the stack, Troy responds with a Deflecting Swat, targeting my Bowmaster. Bowmaster's ETB comes in and targets Sebastian's Orcish Bowmaster. I move into combat and attack Troy for 3. On Sebastian's turn, Sebastian draws his card for his turn, and then moves into combat, attacking Troy for 6. On Sebastian's end step, Troy activates Nuka-Cola, which triggers Academy Manufacturer. On Troy's turn, he rolls for his Mana Crypt, takes no damage, casts Wishclaw Talisman, activates Wishclaw Talisman, tutors up a Grinding Station. With Grinding Station's ETB, he grinds away one of his food tokens, which creates a tapped treasure token. Then Academy Manufacturer triggers, which makes 2 additional other tokens, which triggers Grinding Station 2 more additional times. With this loop established, Troy grinds away each and every single one of our cards in our deck and then passes turn. Good job, Troy. Good job to you, Sebastian and Troy, for pulling off both those wins. End game summation for me. Good job to Sebastian for that first game. I didn't see that line, honestly. I know it requires a lot of wizards and the eminence triggers to pop off, but I honestly didn't anticipate you using Phyrexian Metamorph to copy someone else's Bowmasters to continue that loop with Ruthless Technomancer and the Orcish Bowmaster. Good job to you on that. On the second game, Troy, kudos to you. Both of us were playing new commanders from Assassin's Creed, just trying to utilize and see what these new commanders have to offer. I'll be honest, my deck was basically a reshell of Jensen, maybe with a few new updates. I have Nadu in the list and a few other cards that worked with the Cephalid Breakfast. There was a point in the game when Sebastian had a Mind Break trap, and he used it on Albert to stop him with me up on deck. Etiquette-wise, I mean, everyone's results are gonna vary, but typically I wouldn't do that. But I did reveal my hand to him and say, on my turn, I do not have anything. So if you want to have another turn, I suggest you use that Mind Break trap. And he agreed, used the only card in his hand, which was a counterspell, countered and stopped Albert. And then I top decked that Intuition. If Troy didn't have that deflecting SWAT, the game would have been over there, and I'm pretty sure Sebastian would be upset at himself for stopping one person to help another person win. If you're interested in more of these games, we have an event that you can participate in. It's in Las Vegas, Nevada, Dark Side Games. It's for a beta Time Twister. The beta Time Twister EDH Summer Super Series. The main event for the beta Time Twister will take place on August 3rd, 2024. First place will take a Twister, and second to fourth will each get a full set of Commander Modern Horizons 3 decks. If you want more information about the event, you can check out darksidegames.com. Also down below is my subscribe button, and also my segue to our Patreon. I'm pleased to present our praiseworthy periodic patrons. Here is our Tier 2 content consumers: Big Yoda at 6, Marcus at 4, Dylan at 3, Troy at 3, and Lex at 2. Now moving on to our Tier 3 cardboard cutouts: Wong at 9 times, Matt at 8, Albert at 8, and Joyner at 3. And thank you for your continued support. If you enjoyed the content, please go to patreon.com/cardboardcontent to support this channel. Thank you for joining us, and see you next week for more content.